Hi class, good evening. Just checking in with you. Wanted to touch base on a few things in regards to the curriculum audit. Good news, again, as I posted last week, we are in the middle of a couple of weeks where the only thing really that you have is the weekly assignment. I say the only thing, just in the sense of it's a little bit easier sometimes just to focus on the weekly assignment versus having to do the discussion boards and a weekly assignment. So hopefully that's helping you guys, not be too stressed out this week. I know it's the middle of the semester for most of you teaching. Had some questions coming in about the curriculum audit, and so I wanted to just review a couple of items that I think will help you. Just because I review these items doesn't mean you can't still send me questions. By all means, of course, send me your questions that you still have. It's not uncommon to have lots of questions when you're going through a project such as this. One, I know there's a lot of anxiety because it counts so much of your grade. But two, each curriculum audit is pretty specific to you and your content that you've chosen. So I know that there could possibly be some questions there. I did post this morning about not sending your audit to Dr. Brown. I think I might have left that in one place. I don't even know where that was, probably in the syllabus somewhere. I overlooked changing Dr. Brown's name to myself. Just make sure that if you have a rough draft of the curriculum audit that you want to send in, that you send it to me. Of course, there's only certain parts that I can give you feedback on, but I definitely don't mind doing that, especially if you feel uncomfortable with, just kind of how you're approaching the standards or the area that you've chosen. But I do want to review a couple of things because I think it will kind of just set most of you on the right path. The first thing I have up is what's in the syllabus, and I know you guys all have the syllabus, but I wanted to just bring your attention to a couple of items. So if you look at where it talks about this area here, kind of what would be addressed in the curriculum audit, basically what you're doing is you're focusing on kind of all aspects of the curriculum. So for example, you're looking at not just the content or, like your standards, but you're also looking at the assessments, you're looking at materials, you're looking at people, is it one person, is it multiple people teaching a particular area? So a lot of times what people do is they'll select, for example, if you're in elementary school, you might be looking at just reading in your grade level. So if you're in pre-K through 5, then you would maybe just choose reading, or you might just choose math. If you are in middle or high school, most likely you're going to choose your content area. So you'll see here for 11th grade, like 11th grade English. If you're teaching like music or art, then chances are you can focus on a particular grade level, but you could even choose, in fact, in the student example, it chooses 3 or 4 grade levels of band. And you'll see in the template how it allows you to focus down into a couple of different areas. One thing I did want to remind you about while we're here on this page is don't forget that as you're creating your audit, that you're also going to have to upload a presentation, and you'll see here about creating a presentation. I'm just kind of highlighting that for you. What I've heard from students in the past is they kind of get caught off guard about that. So, I don't want it to be all due so quickly. And this is just basically summarizing the audit. Typically what happens is you post the PowerPoint or whatever format you choose from this list here. What typically happens is you post that, and then you're still kind of finalizing your audit, but you have the majority, the core part of your audit done, but people go ahead and start working on the PowerPoint so they can post it in the discussion board that's due at the end of the class. But the template itself is actually set up the way that your headers and your subtitles would be set up in your paper. So literally these things here are your headers, and I'll show you that in the student example. Again, so when I grade, and the way the rubric is set up, it's set up for each of these different parts. So you'll see here each of the different criteria on the left, those are the different parts that are above in that template. You can see the rubric is pretty long. Okay. So I want to show you not that, to show you that. Okay, so you've got a log that you also have to turn in. So you've got the digital media part of the audit, so some kind of presentation basically summarizing it for your classmates. And then you also have your audit itself. You have a log sheet that needs to be turned in. So this log sheet, this log sheet is referred to in the syllabus. Pretty much you're logging what you're doing to work on your audit. So for example, if you have to speak with other teachers, if you have to access the internet to look up some standards, if you need to go by your district office and speak to someone or look at some documents, if you need to go by the administrator's office, or if you have a curriculum person at your school for literacy or for math, if you need to speak with them and look at some of the scope and sequences that you might not have for yourself, any of those kinds of things that you do is, and you'll see there it says description of activities. Any of these activities, you're logging your hours on the audit itself. So this is pretty much your research time and or speaking to people time. This is important. You are actually required to turn this in and submit it at the end of your program. So for example, sometimes students will misplace this document and they'll have to come back to me and ask me if I've kept it. So just know that this is, a critical part of what you're turning in. Okay, wanted to show you in the class in week 5 here. On week 5 is where the first link to the example of the curriculum audit is located. It's also located in week 12. So in both of those different places, the sample curriculum audit is here. And you'll see again how each of the headers that I was mentioning to you earlier are here. And you'll see, like for example, this one goes over band grades 9 through 12. Again, this person chose band 9 through 12. You might have 6th grade math. You might have 9th grade literacy, so you're choosing this comprehensive view. So I'm just going to scroll through this example. Again, this is something you can download yourself. Again, that's in week 5 or 12. I wanted to show you this. So here's a template that you might want to use when you're looking up. A lot of people have asked me about the template for the standards and breaking those down. And so there's one here in the student example for you to use. Okay, so we talked about the documentation sheet, we talked about the example, the dissemination plan. Okay, so the last part here, this is where I think people, I don't know if they just start to get tired. And then again, you can see here some of the different tables that is in the student example. There's another table. I wanted to find the dissemination plan so I could show you this. Okay, so the dissemination plan, this is their section in the student example. You can see that that's well over a page. I'm just going to go back up. It's well over a page, so probably about a page and a half there. That dissemination plan is discussed in week 14. Okay, so if you're wanting to work ahead a little bit, or if you just wanted to kind of put your mind at ease and know what that looks like, then look in week 14, because in the weekly overview, there's some materials there that will help you with the dissemination plan. Okay, so I'm hoping that if you're able to look at the student example, go back to your template in the syllabus, and then now, we've spoken about the documentation sheet. I'm hoping that that kind of sets your mind at ease a little bit. Again, please still feel free by all means to email me any questions you have. And I will try to get those weekly assignments graded probably by Thursday afternoon. So I hope you guys have a great week. Talk soon. Bye.